Hello and welcome to a rather different edition of 6 o'clock Live tonight. It's very different indeed because sitting in Jeni's seat for a change is dapper Danny Baker. Good
Dapper
evening.
indeed, Frank. The thing they can't see me tracksuit bottoms, can they? Hiya, gang. Yes, I have had to adopt the suit and the boot tonight because not only am I doing a double act with TV's own Pierre Cardin over there, but because tonight's show is absolutely awash with street cred fashion. In this London Fashion Week, we've been out on the streets discovering what's hot and what's not with the young and the fashionable. And would you believe it? It'll probably cost you a fortune.
How much would you spend on clothes then?
Anything that I could afford.
What, thousands?
Yes.
And how would you get that money? Would you save up or what?
My dad.
Well, that's what fathers are for. Now then, Jeni may not be in the studio tonight, but she's not very far away. She's in Chelsea up the river there, playing hostess at a rather unusual dinner party. Jeni, do come back. All is forgiven.
Oh, Frankie, baby, my darling, listen, I'm missing you already. I've left the comparative comfort of the 10th floor at London Weekend Television for the luxury of the Patrick Litchfield room here in Chelsea Harbour, which has been beautifully designed by John Plummer for the charity Fight for Sight, and lovely it is too. But joining me is Master Chef Lloyd Grossman and Jennifer Patterson, erstwhile of The Spectator, who's written Feast Days, and TV chefs Peter Hudson and David Hawes. Now, later on, they're going to be eating some food that they've tasted and that they've seen and they've smelt and they've touched, but they've never tasted. I know what's going on. They have not a clue, so join me later when we'll be cooking up a storm.
So a mysteriously mouth-watering menu. We'll be returning to Chelsea Harbour later to find out what's cooking for our celebrity dinner guests.
And we'll also be meeting a Hollywood actress, the woman who put the flash in Flashdance, Jennifer Beals.
And we'll also have a special report on the latest crisis in our hospitals, which means more misery for the hundreds of you who are waiting for operations. But first of all, with a roundup of tonight's news from around the southeast, here's Anna Maria. Good evening to you.
Hello, Frank. And good evening. London has lost out on a £30 million payout to help fight drug crime. The Americans wanted to give the money to Scotland Yard as a reward for catching an international drugs hitman. But government red tape blocked the payment. Mark Jordan begins his exclusive report in Miami.
Day by day, Florida police battle against drugs on the streets of Miami. But for years, they sought one man known as the Executioner. It was from this millionaire's harbour that key members of a drug ring were taken out to sea, shot dead and dumped. Scott Orico is the man charged with those murders. But it was London's Scotland Yard that caught Orico living undercover right here in London. As a reward, the American Drug Enforcement Agency offered the capital's drug squad £30 million. But in Whitehall, the Treasury blocked that money, saying it had to go into general government funds. So today, the Americans withdrew that offer.
The American side of it is that when they are making such a donation, it is for law enforcement and for law enforcement alone. Whereas if it was accepted by the UK government, they would not be able to give that guarantee to our United States friends.
But you could use the 30 million in drugs operations in Britain?
Most certainly we could, and it would help us a great deal.
Cocaine seizures have rocketed in London. Bermondsey's MP says the police needed that money.
I think it's incredible. I think a government, when it's offered £30 million, finds that it can't accept it and puts bureaucracy in the way of actually dealing with drug dealing is irresponsible, and it's ridiculous. I've heard ministers say they are desperate to deal with people who deal in drugs. They have a great chance for 30 million and they're throwing it away.
No Treasury Minister here was available for comment. I'm told they're busy preparing a tough round of public expenditure budgets. But today they've lost the chance of a £30 million gift. Mark Jordan, LWT News, Whitehall.
Life-saving equipment at a pool where a teenager drowned was not up to scratch, according to a doctor who tried to save him. Now Barnett Council could face prosecution. Ken Andrew has the story.
More than 6,000 people were crowded into the Finchley open-air pool complex, yet 18-year-old Junior Kalu, a 6'7", heavily built giant, drowned without anyone noticing. The inquest into his death at St Pancras Coroner's Court heard that conditions inside the complex were chaotic. Eyewitnesses told the inquest that when they tried to raise the alarm, a lifeguard at first didn't take them seriously. And the solicitor for Junior Kalu's family said there was no proper training of pool staff and resuscitation equipment at the pool was outdated. A pathologist said there was no obvious reason why Junior Kalu drowned. The jury brought in a verdict of accidental death and said the pool's dirty water, bad organisation, inadequate facilities and poor equipment may have contributed to his death.
I'm just appalled by what I've heard today. In fact, another teenager was was involved in an accident a couple of days later and broke his neck and was paralysed. And I just feel, who else is safe?
Barnett Council now face possible prosecution for negligence. Ken Andrew, LWT News, St Pancras.
A tube driver escaped death by inches when he was nearly run over by his own train. It happened on the Victoria line. The driver left his train to telephone after waiting 15 minutes at a red signal, but he forgot to put the brake on and the train moved off. He escaped by squeezing himself against a wall. The train arrived at Seven Sisters driverless. And there's been an alert at Heathrow. A firework display forced pilots to change runways. Pilots landing last night said it was like flying through a war zone. The Civil Aviation Authority said there was no risk. They'd been told about the display, but they didn't put out an advance warning to pilots. The pilots said they should have been told. Tonight on LWT News, a special report. How Jews in London are hitting back against racist attacks. The Jewish community are split on how to defend themselves. Some look to the police for protection, others police themselves. But as David Harvey reports, one group of militants say it's time to meet violence with violence.
The Home Guard of the 90s. Parents at this state-run Jewish school in Camden act as security guards to stop trouble. They take turns to watch over their children who have suffered racial taunts. Some have been threatened with knives. The controller has a hotline to the police station.
We will never lower our guard while we feel our children are at risk. Since we have taken up security here, the incidents have almost disappeared completely.
Anything Jewish is a likely target. This building is the headquarters for Jewish students.
Well, I was coming back here on Saturday night about 12:30 and I noticed a coach parked outside the building. I didn't think anything of it until I looked behind and I saw about 30 or 40 skinheads coming this way. I quickly got into the building, but a few of them followed up. And before I closed the door, they started hurling abuse.
The students have set up their own national helpline to monitor such attacks. They get 20 calls a week. It's the first year that the police have logged such crimes. They say there was no need in the past.
It's a sort of copycat effect of what's happening in Europe, particularly in Germany and France. The rise of nationalism in Germany has definitely had an effect throughout Europe.
Across London, 31 anti-Semitic incidences have been recorded by the police this year, but many victims are too frightened to report attacks. In Stamford Hill, for the 12,000-strong Jewish community, fear is a daily emotion.
I was harassed a few times wearing a hat. It's obviously conspicuous in the area, and I've been chased quite a few times.
My family did suffer from that, actually.
What things have happened to your family?
Just attacks and on the street.
Nearly everyone we've spoken to has some story to tell about anti-Jewish abuse, and the community is divided on what to do about it. Some say it should be left to the police. Others want to defend themselves. 6 members of the Jewish Defence Group are now in New York, learning how to fight back.
Primarily, we'd like to first start with for training for hand-to-hand combat, karate, and self-defense. Certainly, we're not against Jews knowing how to use firearms wherever they need to know how to protect themselves.
The Board of Deputies of British Jews says such extremism and violence called for by the Jewish Defence Organisation has no place in Britain. One of its members says the community should work together, but on the right side of the law.
There has to be a system of Jewish vigilance, not vigilantes, but Jewish vigilance. Really simply a version of neighbourhood watch, a Jewish neighbourhood watch.
Demonstrations so far have been peaceful, but now some are learning new ways of defence. David Harvey, LWT News.
And news just in, Tottenham Hotspur's shares have been suspended tonight. The stock exchange said it was in the light of new information given to them today. The First Division club's finances have been under scrutiny since publisher Robert Maxwell tried to buy a substantial stake. Other news, a 10-year fight to save the casualty department of a London hospital looks lost. Residents say closing the facility at Mile End Hospital is totally wrong. Stuart Maister reports.
Closing the casualty department at Mile End, the District Health Authority have decided, will mean an improved service. That's because they plan to centralise the service at the other casualty department in Tower Hamlets at the Royal London Hospital in Whitechapel and spend £1.5 million upgrading the department there.
We do believe that providing the emergency service, which requires high-tech backup, all the scanning facilities of a modern hospital, can best be provided from the Whitechapel site.
Local residents who fought such plans for 10 years say the bigger Whitechapel department could never replace the small one at Mile End.
This is not just an hospital, it's part of the community. You know, if they're in trouble, this is the place people go. They know to go elsewhere, you know, you just got no chance.
Local residents say they'll fight the closure when it goes to the Regional Health Authority for approval and say they have a 20,000 signature petition to back their argument. They fear if they lose, the next step could be the closure of Mile End Hospital altogether. Stuart Maister, LWT News at the Mile End Hospital.
Finally, if circus acts are the stuff of fantasy, here's a chance to make yours come true. Zippo the Clown Circus is offering anyone the chance to fly through the air on a full-size trapeze. Sham Ambiavaga is with the circus at Peckham Rye Common. Sham.
Yes, this is Zippo's animal-free circus, the only one with a do-it-yourself trapeze act where anyone can have a go and the thrill is completely free. This is how the professionals do it, with grace, agility and style. Now this is how a rank amateur performs. You don't need skill or strength or even courage. Don't let go.
Okay, hold tight, feet off, feet off. Hold tight.
Good girl. And this is where you wish you hadn't skipped gym lessons and wonder about cramps setting into your fingers. Others were wiser.
No way. Do you want to go, Mike?
And that's not all the audience participation here. Members of the public take part in a knife-throwing act.
We coerce them to stand against the board. They don't willingly volunteer.
Well, so if you fancy having knives thrown at you or swinging from a trapeze, you know where to come. This act lasts till Tuesday. Anna Maria.
Sham Ambiavaga living out her fantasies. That's the LWT News this evening so far. We'll be back at 10:35. Frank.
Anna Maria, thank you very much. Question for you. Are you or someone in your family perhaps, or somebody you know, are you waiting for a hospital operation? It may be a hip replacement, a cataract or hernia. Now, we all know that if you're having it done on the National Health, you could be on the waiting list for quite some time. But this week, 6 o'clock Live has been alerted to a new crisis that means that you'll have to wait even longer for so-called non-emergency operations. Now, it's been brought about by the government, who say that for the first time, each of our hospitals will have to run itself like a business, with budgets that balance at the end of the financial year. And if individual hospitals can't afford routine operations, well, they simply won't happen. Now, unlike before, there'll be no pinching money from next year's budget to keep things going either. Well, sadly, the new measures are already beginning to bite. And this week, we were leaked this document here. It's an internal memo to staff at Westminster Hospital. And it says that large parts of the hospital are to be placed on what they call yellow alert. That means only emergencies, cancer patients and women having abortions will be admitted. Well, it'll mean misery for hundreds waiting for routine operations. And Westminster isn't the only hospital with a cash crisis, as Mary now reports.
Professor Philip Steer is one of the most senior surgeons at the Westminster Hospital. When he received the internal staff memo a week ago, he was shocked at its implications.
Well, it's the first time in 20 years in working in the health service that I've been asked to see patients in the outpatients, assess their need, decide that they need an operation, and then I have to tell them that I can't do it.
Fiona Cunningham was one of Professor Steer's patients. She had an appointment for an exploratory gynecological operation, but she was one of the first victims of the hospital's restrictions.
I was crying with the pain, and he explained to me that as from that morning that all operations had been stopped in the Westminster Hospital, and it was unlikely that I would be able to have one in another NHS hospital in London. So that was quite frightening.
I feel disappointed that I wasn't allowed to help her. I was willing to do so. We had the ability to do so. We had the theatres, we had the staff. But because we cannot physically afford at the current time to pay for all the other bits and pieces that go with that, we couldn't do anything.
I was actually quite stunned, and because I was feeling very tearful, I began to be quite worried because I thought it may be something to do with my fallopian tubes, because they had suggested that earlier, and obviously one doesn't hang about waiting for operations on one's fallopian tubes, because one can be damaged for life.
Westminster Hospital is on what is known as a yellow alert. It has stopped all non-emergency operations like Fiona's as part of plans to save £5 million over the next 6 months. But for Fiona and Professor Steer, the savings are not worth the human cost.
Well, I thought maybe in their eyes I'm not a life or death case, but as I said before, with fallopian tubes, then it can cause great damage.
I resent, after 20 years of hard work, putting in a lot of overtime, most of it unpaid, on behalf of the health service, to suddenly be told that for the next 6 months I have to twiddle my thumbs and not basically do anything, makes me angry and sad.
Forced to balance their budgets, hospitals like the Westminster are now finding that anything but life and death cases are just too expensive in terms of staff and equipment for operations. And Westminster isn't alone. According to community health councils across London, similar measures are being taken at Ealing, St Mary's, King's College and Bart's hospitals.
This is certainly the worst situation that we've seen. And the fact that it's come so early is really alarming, because it means that if the hospitals run into severe problems during the middle of the winter and they're already on yellow alert, they won't even be able to take emergency cases, and that's a red alert situation.
So people could die?
People will die. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that at all. People will die waiting to get into hospital.
I came into medicine because I saw it as a caring profession, and that we put the patient first, and we all work together in the health service to provide the best service we can for every individual patient. I would find it extremely difficult to change my order of priorities so that it simply reflected cost.
I felt to myself, there's not much point in being angry towards him, because he is not the cause of my anger. The cause is the person who's saying there's no more money for Westminster Hospital.
Well, earlier this afternoon I raised that matter with David Knowles. He's the General Manager of the Riverside Health Authority, the man who makes those decisions. Well, David Knowles, it's rather like a bad joke, isn't it? There you've got all those wonderful facilities, operating theatres, all the skills, fine surgeons, and not being able to work. It's crazy, isn't it?
I can understand you saying that. We, at the moment, don't have enough money to use all the facilities that are available to us. We have an allocation in our health district of £175 million, and we're currently spending at the rate of £180 million, and you can't do that in any business.
But I distinctly remember when the budgets came in, the health minister said, when asked what would happen if the money ran out, he said, oh, that'll be all right. He said it will never affect the service and the care and the operations. And here it is doing precisely that.
I didn't hear that interview, but what I think he had in mind was emergency services, because the reality is that for all practical purposes, there's an infinite demand for health service. And there's always going to be finite resources. So we make choices. We make those choices all the time.
But those sort of so-called non-emergency operations, they do get worse, and eventually, as we've heard from an expert there saying, people will die as a result.
Well, I don't accept that people are going to die in those circumstances, because, of course, it is possible, as a result of not being treated on a non-emergency basis, you then become an emergency and have to be admitted to hospital, and that will continue. And that, of course, is very regrettable. There are choices that are being made, and I'm not suggesting that any defence of the situation which we're currently getting involved in Riverside, I would prefer not to have to close those beds.
What do you say to those people who are waiting for operations and are worried because they can't get them?
Well, there are lots of people in this country who are worried because they're on waiting lists of the NHS.
But this is a slowing down, a very dramatic slowing down.
Well, it's not a very dramatic slowing down.
But you're virtually stopping these non-emergency operations.
No, that isn't the case.
So the professor's got it wrong.
The professor on this occasion has got it wrong, though I understand why he made that particular error. We will continue to do elective admissions. We are closing a limited number of beds, and that reduces the amount of elective work that we can do. We'll still have a day case unit that will be doing a lot of elective work, and indeed in many of our beds we will continue to be able to do elective admissions.
Those are non-emergency
And I'm sorry for using the word elective, non-emergency admissions.
But nevertheless, you have cut back dramatically as a result of not enough money between now and next April, isn't that
so? Not that dramatically. We're taking 36 beds, closing 36 beds at Westminster Hospital. We will still have 312 beds. We're taking out 38 beds at Charing Cross Hospital, and we'll still have 600 and odd beds.
The other problem is you haven't finished yet. You're looking for another £1 million savings, aren't you? Where's that coming from?
I don't know at this stage. We've just come up with proposals to save £5 million, and we're still short of another million, and we're looking hard to see where that can be saved. I would not anticipate there being any further closures of beds in Riverside this year.
David Knowles, thank you.
Thank you.
Nevertheless, you're going to have to hang on in there and wait just a little bit longer. Well, we'll take a break now, but still to come on 6 o'clock Live, well, we discover what's hot and what's not amongst the South East's teenage trendies. And we'll be sinking our fangs into Hollywood actress and star of Vampire's Kiss, Jennifer Beals, and finding out why Jeni's been bitten by a new cooking bug. That's after these. Hello again. Now, if you're a parent, you'll know just how trying buying clothes for today's discerning youngsters can be. Not only do you have to find precisely the right make and style, but whatever you choose is likely to cost you an absolute fortune. And the chances are the fashion will wear out long before the clothes.
Since Monday, the designers at the London Fashion Week have been parading clothes that they think will be the look of the future. But will their creations get the ultimate seal of approval? And that is, will they be street cred enough for the under-20s?
Well, Mary's been conducting our own style trial amongst the South East trendy teenagers.
Ever since the Mini raised eyebrows in the 60s and punk hit the streets in the 70s, young Londoners have led the way in what's hip and hot on the fashion front. And the 90s are no exception. They are still the best dressed kids on the block, and they'll go to any lengths and pay whatever it costs to get the look. How much would you spend on clothes then?
Anything that I could afford.
What, thousands?
Yes.
And how would you get that money? Would you save up or what?
My date.
Well, they're willing to fork out for fashion, or at least their parents are. But what is the right image these days? Is it this one? Or that one? Or perhaps even this one? Oh, I don't know. Time to consult fashion expert Lizzie Wilson. She certainly looks the sort to give me the lowdown on current street cred.
There isn't one kind of street cred. There's a classic look, there's a ragamuffin look that's come over from Europe, there's a studenty look, and there's a clubland look.
Well, I was none the wiser. So Lizzie demonstrated her theories with the help of some trendy young things she spotted on Oxford Street.
Can't touch this. Can't touch this.
This is the clubland look. It's a very 60s look. The hair, the plastic jacket, very in the 90s, very effective in the clubs. 60s boots, altogether a very stunning style.
I do get dirty looks sometimes when I'm walking along the street, but you just shake it off because you just like got to say to yourself, well, I look different, I don't look as boring as you lot.
Basically, Damien's a scruff. He just got out of bed look, the hair hasn't been brushed. Layers of clothing, practicality to keep him warm because that's all he could find on the floor that morning.
I just like mixing clothes up. I like going to sales and jump sales and stuff.
Fashion followers start young these days. Damien in the middle's got what's called a ragamuffin look. It's got the big shirt, the bum bag over his shoulder, the baggy jeans and sneakers. It's altogether a comfortable and casual look.
They can't touch.
What do you think you look like?
A bad boy.
What's a bad boy?
A cool boy.
Bill, school is in, sucker. Can't touch this. Give me a song or rhythm, making them sweat. That's what I'm giving.
This is a very classic look. The rubber or leather jacket. This one's rubber. It's very smart. Can be worn with jeans or virtually anything. White jeans, very contemporary. Jogger boots, very, very smart. Altogether, a very simple and chic look.
Either work hard or you might as well quit.
I get an allowance from my parents, about £80 to £100 a month. I don't think that's a lot of money. I think it's average for my age.
These dedicated followers of fashion know that street chic doesn't exactly come cheap, and it soon goes out of style. What's in fashion today is old hat tomorrow. With that in mind, we decided to give two of our street cred kids a sneak preview of what they could be wearing next. And who better to consult than Johnny Rocker from the leading fashion house Mishiko Kushino?
I think the women are definitely getting sexier, and the men are definitely making more of an effort to dress up.
Well, he's not giving away very much. So without further ado, it's off with the old and on with the new. Is this the look that'll put them streets ahead in the fashion stakes? What do they think?
Well, I like them, but they're a bit too outrageous for me. And although I'd like to sometimes wear them out, I don't think I would because they're too outrageous and also quite expensive.
Yeah, I think the same. They're a bit eccentric and the materials really make me feel hot, but I mean it's flexible, but I don't think I'd wear it.
Rather mixed reactions from Sonia and Damien. Now to try out their new look on the streets.
So walk out in the street, go down the pub, go to shopping, with a pair of them on.
Go skiing?
No.
And would you like one of them?
I think they're very sporty and very young. I think they're fine if you've got a good figure.
But it's not pleasing to the eye. She's nice and pleasing, but the outfit's not pleasing.
Mary's hat there was, of course, a Westwood, but Westwood of Kidbrooke. But Frank, I doff my Mary-style hat to you on these matters. What is the key to a gentleman's wardrobe?
Well, a trendy me. I've got 3 M&S jackets, one on, one at the cleaners, one in the wardrobe. And you're speaking to an ex-proud holder of the Tie Man of the Year award.
I've got a tie on. Them old curtains run up a treat. Now, we want to hear from you if you reckon you're the most radical, baddest, deaf, dope, wicked, or to speak English, the best-dressed kid in town. If you're a mum or a dad, you can nominate one of your own little fashion victims for the title. The address to write to, enclosing a photo of yourself or your youngster in Street Cred Clobber, is Street Cred, 6 o'clock live, LWT, PO Box 50, London SE1 9LQ. Please include a stamped addressed envelope so we can return the photo to you. And the prize for the most Street Cred is unique from the designer of tomorrow. This is the bit. Mishiko Kushino. You can read him in the Beano. Now, he's a top designer and he's especially designed an outfit for our winner worth hundreds of pounds and so madly contemporary that not even the fly pitchers down Lever Lane have copied it yet. As for me, if fashion law's ever enforced, I'm going straight to jail. Frank?
Thank you very much. Now, if you just tuned in and you're wondering why Jeni looks so awful tonight, don't worry, it's actually Danny over there. Jeni is, in fact, throwing a dinner party in Chelsea. How's it going, Jeni?
Oh, Frank, it's wonderful. The atmosphere is as fluffy as an omelette, and thank you for asking. But for you at home, if you're tucking into boring bangers and mash, then please forget it, because Dick Wainwright has got much better recipes for you. He's come up with a whole pile of ingredients to titillate the taste buds. Served up in a restaurant, you'd probably walk out. Our gourmets are all downstairs. They don't know what's going on. They're not going to see the film. But why don't you settle back and see how I help Dick prepare his specialities? A word of warning, it is not for the squeamish or for my mummy. The man who's preparing the food for my little soirée doesn't work at the Savoy or the Gavroche. He works here at the Natural History Museum. Not that cooking is his #1 speciality. In fact, Dick Wainwright is an entomologist in charge of 25 million creepy crawlies and says he really loves insects.
I think insects fall into two sort of sorts. A bit like butterflies, which were my first love, like most people who are interested in entomology. They wear their hearts on their sleeves, you know, their beautiful colours, the shapes. You can appreciate those straight away. Whereas the other ones, the things that people find yucky, to me, one of the most exciting things to look at in the world is a live housefly under the microscope.
But it's not enough for Dick to read about and classify and sketch and study and monitor the biters. 11's? Dick actually eats what he studies, insects. He started with the daddy longlegs, and now there's no stopping him. Throwing dinner parties with insects on the menu is a way of life for Dick and his family. He agreed to prepare me a menu that's crawling with goodness. Yuck. Now, of course, you can't just pop down to the local supermarket for food like this little chap. Dick gets his ingredients from a laboratory that supplies insects for zoos. They're bred in their thousands and sent to Dick alive.
They are battery farmed, and it's actually quite noticeable, especially with the locusts, that they lose their quality. They don't taste nearly as good as the free range, the real thing.
On to the cooking. First, some pre-dinner nibbles to whet my guests' appetites. Mealworm mix. Mmm.
OK, so here are the bag of frozen mealworms, cleaned and frozen, and we're going to put them out onto the plate so you can see what they really look like.
Oh, God.
There we are.
God almighty.
They're very nutty, as many insects are, in flavour. And all you need to do to cook them is dry roast them. I've got some I prepared earlier, and we'll add a few of these to the Bombay mix. The salt in the Bombay mix, apart from anything else, sort of, you know, really complements them. I like to...
You're eating maggots, man.
Very good.
Moving on to the hors d'oeuvre of my insect menu, cricket soup. Super.
Well, these are the crickets, as I like to think of them, the chickens of the insect world. All right? They look like a little bit like chickens, don't they? Now,
they look like dead insects to me. They don't look like chickens at all. Take them off, take them off, take them off. For this dish, you'll need mushrooms, celery, onions, and a handful of crickets. Crunchy. And for the entree, garlic fried locusts.
locusts and their relatives, the grasshoppers, are the most widely eaten insects throughout the world. OK, so the first stage is cut the head off. Put the knife down then, strip off the legs, and then the wings. And there we are. That's one.
Then fry in garlic butter. Brilliant.
You'll notice, as with any seafood, not that these are seafood, these are like winged seafood, but they're just like seafood, they're turning red as we cook them.
Can't do it.
Yeah? Oh, that's a brilliant one. That's really good. I've got that just right, really crisp.
Yeah?
I'm proud of that.
Well, there you have it. Isn't it interesting? We know what's going on. They haven't got a clue. Master Chef Lloyd Grossman, how are you feeling? Are you frightened?
Well, I'm trying to cultivate an air of imperturbability, but I'm actually terrified.
Good, good. Jennifer Patterson, erstwhile of The Spectator, do you know what's in store for you?
I'm not erstwhile.
Oh,
no, I don't know what's in store for me. No, I've no idea. I'm very excited.
Oh, good, very excited. And our TV chefs, David Hawes and Peter Hudson. How do you feel about this?
I came prepared. I bought 2 antacid tablets. Will you share them?
Now listen. In all good tradition here, for a little secret here, I want them to put their little eye patches on, which is what they're going to do, so they don't know what's going on. In true What's My Line fashion, lovely. Can you see anything?
Sign in, please.
Can you see anything? No, good. Right, now, Dick Wainwright is going to show you people at home precisely what we have, and I think there you have it. Isn't that wonderful? Now, quickly, Lloyd, dig in, dig in, dig in.
Lloyd.
There it is. There's your fingers. There we go.
What's the
Okay,
little thing?
dig in. Lovely. Quickly, David, dig in.
I can't find him.
There you can.
Oh, jolly nice.
Oh, jolly nice, says Lloyd.
Yeah.
David.
Well, it's very light and fluffy, isn't it?
Well, crunchy.
Crunchy.
Yeah.
Yes, Peter. Give it to
Crunchy
Jennifer.
was a clown.
Quickly,
Birdseed.
quickly. Birdseed.
Oh,
Jennifer,
sort of
wait,
birdseed.
quickly to Jennifer.
Not, it's something. It's,
What's
it's
she
something.
saying?
It's something in.
That's it. See you later. Go away.
Oh,
She
it
went,
is. It's dried flies.
You tried a menu like that, Dan?
I think it's the future, Frank. I can see a time when there's fly and mash shops all over London. And as my grandpappy said, never eat anything with less legs than yourself. Fish excluded.
Good advice. Time now to pay the rent, but join us again for part 3 when we've great news for all you fans of Miss Minogue. And if Danny's not feeling too sheepish, he could become Lord Baker of Bermondsey. How about that? And she's hot-blooded, a real vamp. Stay tuned for Flashdance star Jennifer Beals. Don't go away.
There's more there on it. Hang on, sorry. That's it. There it is. Can you see that?
Thank you.
No problem.
Do that tonight. We'll bring you a glass of wine over as well.
Good enough.
Hello again. Now, with mortgage rates going down at last, we hear, yours may be one of the thousands of families now thinking of moving house. Experts are saying the market is beginning to pick up again. And if, as predicted, there's another cut in interest rates, well, no doubt more people will be popping along to their local estate agent.
But, as we've already seen on 6 o'clock Live, you don't have to splash out on boring old 4 walls, a garden and a garage. Last week, Jeni discovered that for £1,000 an acre, you can buy yourself your own piece of woodland. Now, loads of you wrote and phoned in after seeing that film, wanting to know more, including Carla Lane, the writer of Bread, the hit series on BBC One. Shelling out on your own forest, though, isn't the only alternative investment. If you have got a nest egg, you might put your money into something completely different, where you really can be master of all you survey. Mate of mine's just sold his house after being on the market for a year. Trouble was, he said, there's just too many similar places in London, and that started me to thinking. Supposing you did want something a little bit grand, you had a few quid and a taste for the extraordinary. Just what is available? I mean, can an Englishman's home literally be his castle? Justin?
Yep.
Danny, how are you? To find out, I've come to see Justin Shingles from Stratton Parker, purveyors of property to the gentry. I'm looking for something a little bit out of the ordinary, say with, you know, a couple of large window boxes or something. Right. Is that extraordinary, or...?
Well, you want something big, do you, or
yeah.
How about something with a bit of snob value?
Bit of snob value, now there,
like
you're
that sort of
talking
thing,
to me there,
or...
yeah. See, I'm over in Deptford at the moment. I wouldn't...
I think I know just the thing. We have coming up in the middle of November, the auction of the Lordship of Bermondsey.
You're kidding? Lord of the Manor of Bermondsey? Lord Baker of Bermondsey? It does have a certain ring to it. A seat in the House of Lords, me own grounds and a manor house. Yeah, I could get used to that. I'd arranged to meet the current title holder, Lord Mike Sales, near the gateway to his fiefdom in Bermondsey. I suppose you're Lord Bermondsey, are you?
Lord of the Manor of Bermondsey.
You ain't?
Lord of the Manor of Bermondsey.
You don't look like a lord. Where's your hat and your cape on that thing now? No airs and graces here. In fact, Mike's a retired fireman. You haven't got a huge house?
No, I just live in a small town place and that's about all.
Yeah?
There's no robes, no coronets or anything like that.
The trouble is, these old medieval titles are just that. Any Tom, Dick or Mike can buy one. They lost their privileges years ago, except one or two.
There are rights of mines and minerals.
All mines and minerals, yeah.
Yeah, there's rights of fairs and markets.
Yeah.
But there is also an interesting right of grazing your sheep as well.
Grazing your sheep?
Yeah, grazing your sheep.
Well, I must say, it might be useful. If ever I get a sheep, I won't have to sneak it out in the middle of the night. I can say I'm the Lord. But a rumoured price of £30,000, that's a very expensive lawnmower and not much else. So, back to Justin. The title itself is interesting and extraordinary, but I don't think I'm getting value for money there, really, just a title. What can I have where I am the governor?
Got it.
What?
I know I've got a secular thing for you.
What? Now, this was interesting. Here I really could be king, master of all I surveyed. A truly adventurous investment. All right, it wasn't the easiest of places to reach. But then, how many islands are? Nevertheless, I made my way ashore to stake my claim. Now, this may look like Indiana Jones country, but in fact, this island is in the middle of the Thames at Runnymede and comes complete with a modern detached bungalow. I soon discovered estate agent Dennis Burns, who reckons the island's a mere snip at $350,000. Are there many properties like this, certainly in the southeast of England?
No, they come on the market very rarely. And when they do, islands always create a lot of interest.
Really?
Everybody's desire to own an island and live on an island, but not many people have the ability to actually do it.
Between you and me, why do people want to live on it? What is it? Honestly.
I think it's a question of getting away from it all and owning all you survey.
Seeking a second opinion, I had a word with my would-be neighbour, Basil Fady, who owns nearby Monkey Island, and he's hooked on it. But do you ever feel like king of your island? Because I certainly would suspect there's a part of it in there. It's like owning your own country, I think.
I think it gives that feeling. You feel more protective of your island than possibly just a house with normal boundaries.
Yeah.
I think it does give you a feel of more pride than a normal property.
The possibilities are endless. Just think, my own currency, my own tax laws, maybe even my own navy. Yeah, this sounds good to me. An island, my island. The solitude, the security. Away from it all, and let's face it, you know, us television people, we need to get away from the masses, the public, the No, I'm only talking to myself, lads. I'm only joking, lads. Come back a second. Lads, you can't leave me here without a pub. I command you to come back. I'm nearly Lord of the Manor of Bermondsey, me. Right, you wait. You want to come back in my waters?
Well, is your money still on the table? That's what I want to know.
Once the bidding topped a tenner, I bottled out. But there are perks with it, the Lord of the Manor of Bermondsey. One, I'll put this delicately, on the wedding night of anyone in the borough, you are entitled to have first pick of the bride, as it says, and there is a pub in Bermondsey where the Lord of the Manor can get free drink, but they won't name it in case everyone turns up and says, I'm the Lord of the Manor, gives a drink, and they know it on the day of the auction.
OK, now, if the idea of becoming a Lord of the Manor, or indeed having an island all to yourself, appeals to you, a London estate agent is now offering you the chance of having an entire village to yourself. Pressure in Hampshire comes complete with a farm, a manor house and cottages. Plenty of room, indeed, if the in-laws drop in unexpectedly.
That's quite nice. Only right being a kid. And if your nest egg won't quite stretch to your own village, then how about this scheme? You can buy your own stretch of vineyard in France for £125 a year. You get your own line of wines, and every harvest you can go and pick your own grapes, press them, and come back home with your very own vintage, like this one, you see? Chateau Baker there, which is a bumptious little paint stripper with illusions that it's got class. My own one, Frank, huh?
That's wonderful, that's wonderful. Now, earlier on, we saw Jeni and Dick Wainwright from London's Natural History Museum prepare a dish of delightful delicacies for our little soirée of celebrity cooks. As you know, what they actually served up was insects. But of course, our star guests don't actually know that yet. Are you finally going to let them into your little secret, Jeni?
No, they're not into the secret yet. I think that's what you said, my darling. But listen, we're here. The party's going swimmingly. We've got lots of booze. And I'm moving round now, look, to Lloyd here. I'm going round to Lloyd. Now, Lloyd, have you any idea what this is? And would you like to have another nibble? And I want a quick comment.
Well, I mean, this has been disguised to look like that stuff you get in Indian cocktail bars.
Yes,
Such things exist, called Bombay Mix.
Go on. You're not going to beat the Bombay
Mix. And it's really
Mix.
some sort of, I don't know, worm or, I don't know,
nice.
something
Do you
rather
like
unpleasant.
it? Do you like it?
Well, it's crunchy, I mean, and salty.
This
It'd
is
be
what
okay
you're
with
eating.
a
Nobody else
cocktail.
look, please. Nobody else look.
Well, I don't even know what those are, so it doesn't affect me.
He doesn't know what they are. What an easy way out. OK, now, wait, move out the way, Lloyd, please. Thank you. Hogging the television. Jennifer, have a slurp. Jennifer's going down for a slurp. Having a slurp here.
It's hot.
It's hot, yes. Yeah, but what does it taste like?
It tastes like artichoke soup with some slugs in it.
No. it is, in fact, this.
Cricket soup.
Oh, shush! She's useless. It is the chicken. It's the chicken of the tundra, wherever they come from. All right, now we're moving around here. David Halls.
Am I going to have to go first?
Now, he's got to put it in one go because of his...
Right.
OK, go on. Yeah, how is it?
Sauce is lovely.
Sauce is lovely.
Bread's delicious. And the dragonflies taste quite nice too.
No, it's not. You're eating that.
Oh, that's not. That's close.
That's what he's having. That's close, he says.
Oh, Lord.
Now, go on, go for it.
Right, a whole one. Smelled delicious.
This is Peter Hudson. Andrew
Tart.
Badin.
Actually beautiful.
Is it really?
Really, I mean it. Lovely.
Caterpillar remarking. You caterpillar. Now listen, Dick, you're the one. Now listen, most of them liked it. Are you surprised that they liked it?
No, because it's very interesting the way you set it up. The psychology is good. If you don't know what it is, you're going to be fair, and you know it tastes okay most.
Now your 3-year-old daughter.
Oh yeah, I can't keep her off those things. The caterpillars that have gone into making part of that, she just she gobbles them all up. I nearly didn't have any for the show.
Now look, for all you people at home who want to try these charming recipes, there are 3 golden rules. Number 1.
You mustn't eat anything spiny or hairy or very brightly coloured.
Oh, okay, that's spiny, hairy coloured. That's number 2. No, nothing hairy or coloured. And what else?
Well, nothing from your your sink or anything like that. Nothing, no house flies, no cockroaches, nothing like that.
No, nothing dead, basically.
Yes.
But we're going to go out on a song. Thank you very much. Thank you for our panel for being such good sports. And we're going to go out on a song. I know an entomologist who swallowed a fly, but I don't know why he swallowed a fly. Perhaps he'll die. Yeah. Are you all right? Yeah, he's fine. Goodbye.
Well, just a reminder, by the way, you shouldn't copy all that at home. Not all insects are fit for the frying pan. This is a little bit of mealy worm fudge. Do you fancy this? Are we going to do
I know I was going to get round to it. I think Rent-A-Kill could have the franchise and open restaurants all over London at this rate, can't
I'm not sure. Anyway, I simply hope that we haven't put you off your tea. Mind you, It's not very nice, is it?
It's brilliant. I love
If
it.
you do like things squeamish, you'll probably like the new film starring our very special guest tonight. She's best known for her role in Flashdance. They are very crunchy. Now she's swapped her dancing shoes for a set of fangs and a love of all things batty. Welcome, Hollywood actress Jennifer Beals. Hello.
Hello.
I must apologise.
Do you have like little insect legs between your teeth?
I
now?
do. Would you like a little nibble?
No,
You
thank
go
you.
on, have a
Thank you.
little bit.
No, thank
Yeah.
you.
We don't normally welcome our
Nastiest
guests with a
thing
plate full of
I've
creepy crawlies, I'm afraid, but you're very, very welcome.
Oh, I guess I'm special in that way.
Now, in this film, Vampire Kiss, it's interesting that Nicolas Cage, your co-star, he actually ate a cockroach, is that right?
Yeah, well, he chewed on it for a while and then he spit it out. He
Did he?
didn't. He didn't swallow it, so he was following the rules of not eating.
Yeah, because the gentleman said never cockroaches.
I know.
And that
He
wasn't
just
a
chewed
kind
on
of film fiddle. He actually did nibble it, did he?
Oh no, he did. He did. He picked it up. It was living, so it was sort of like a
Yeah.
sushi kind of thing.
And he was poorly afterwards, wasn't he?
He was what?
He was poorly afterwards, ill.
I don't know. I wasn't there that day, so
Hmm.
I didn't speak to him about it. I just.
Tell me about this film. Is it a spooky film, a spooky horror film, or a funny horror
Oh
film?
no, not at all. In fact, it's not really. I wouldn't really categorize it as a horror film. It's basically about this man who is a literary agent in New York who can't find love in the city, and
He wants to be a vampire like you.
Well, what happens is he has a one-night stand with this woman
Hmm.
who is me, and he thinks that she's a vampire, and he slowly begins to self-destruct and sort of ruin other people's lives. But it's a comedy, and it's
Now listen.
it's okay to laugh. What are you writing?
We've got and I'm just reminding myself, we've got a prize for our viewers to compete for. The prize, in fact, is a Lon Polly Dracula trip for two next summer to Transylvania. And you've got a couple of questions to ask them to compete with and to win a prize. What are the two questions?
Okay, the questions are, the first question is, who was the literary creator of vampires? And, oh, I like that background music.
Yeah.
And the second question is, in which country is modern-day Transylvania?
And the address, I'll give that. That's the address. Isn't it spooky? Somebody just said that vampires don't cast a shadow. We should explain that. We boo-booed there. But that's the address. Vampire Contest, 6 o'clock live, LWT, PO Box 50, London, SE1 9LQ. Just a word about Flashdance. Does that still hang like a millstone around your neck, that part? Or you were proud of it? It made you, didn't it?
No, I don't feel like it's a millstone. I mean, it's something that, you know, I'm very happy with and sort of launched me and put me along on my way.
And your career's gone from strength to strength after that. Thank you very much indeed for dropping by.
Thank
And we
you.
hope the film goes down a real...
And I hope the mealyworm goes down
Yeah.
real well, too.
So there we are, a Hollywood star tonight. 3 big names next Friday. We've the Prince of Pranksters, Mr. Jeremy Beadle. He'll be joining us. And we'll be striking it lucky with Michael Barrymore. And there's Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome back. And who's the pop star from Down Under talking to first on her trip to Britain? Well, of course, it's 6 o'clock live. Meet Kylie Minogue right here next Friday. Well, have you enjoyed your little stint with us today?
Oh, what do you think? It's better than working, isn't it? All this and 75 quid too.
Yeah. Didn't the girl do well out there?
I'd have said so, yeah, but she didn't have to. I didn't see her eat any. I got lumbered with it as usual. That's why I'm here, isn't it?
OK. Well, we'll leave you as always with 1 or 2 ideas if you fancy getting out and about over the next few days. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have a great one, won't you? From all of us here, good night now.
Cheese and onion sandwiches and Derby china ware, fiddles and jigs and woogie me dog, me auntie Vi having a swear, taking me dad for a pint or two and a Sunday morning stroll, licorice pipes and baggy suits, Glen Hoddle scoring a goal, catching a pike and riding me bike, old wooden wheels and a bowl of hills. That's what I like. A day at the races, off in the bases, going down hopping in Kent. A new pair of braces, little kids' faces, sleeping out under a tent. And wagons, and chickens, and pigging, blackberries, and swallows, and sledges, and Devon, and cherries, and adepts, and trotters, and horses, and nippers, and cider, and celery, and banjo, and kippers. That's what I like.